So guys, before we get started, don't forget we do have that amazing discount code thanks to Tier 0 Games going on right now. And all you have to do is put in ZWGames5 to get 5% discount on your total order at tier0games.com. The links will be in the description below. What's up YouTube, Dad here from Zephyr Games, bringing you what may look like a Blue Eyes Chaos Max build. It's actually a Chaos Max build. Now, this was recommended by Mr. Floofy on the Dark Magician Max build. And the reason for this deck is it's basically designed to bump or ramp level 8 rituals onto the board with incredible own effect plays, and then go into level 8 and rank 8 plays as well to kind of extend the boards and go with game. Now obviously Chaos Max is your game winner. On top of that, the side deck can actually play quite a heavy influence on this deck, and there are some other little techs that you can play that I'll show you at the end. Now the deck itself is designed to go second. The side deck is where you want to put in going first stun cards. That's where your hand traps come in as well. Stuff like your Nibiru's, your Dark Rulers No More. Less so your Dark Ruler No More because you want to be gaming your opponent. You don't want to be stunning your opponent. And then stuff like Super Poly as well. So without further ado, I'm going to take you through the profile, show you what we've got, and explain why we've got it as we go. Now, of course, we've got triple Blue Eyes Chaos Max. This, of course, is your win con. This is your 8k Piercer. Not much more needs to be said about that. We then play double Blackluster Soldier, Super Soldier. Now obviously we're using Chaos Form to bring these guys out because Chaos Form can actually ritual summon any max card or of course any Blackluster. So of course this one fits in with that. Airplane in the background, standard. This card's actually really, really good because when it destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you get to burn your opponent for its original attack in the graveyard. So it does give you an additional extension during the battle phase if you can't game your opponent and you're coming up to time. So it does give you a win con on that. We then play the one Magician of Black Chaos Max. Now the reason we only play the one of this, purely because we're not using any Call of the Haunted or anything to bring it back, and it has to tribute a spellcaster monster to shut off your opponent's cards. So the idea is you would go this first if you're worried about your opponent's card effects, tribute him off, nuke your opponent's board of protective cards or effect cards and anything like that. So if this gets through, your opponent is in a bit of trouble. And then you kind of push your plays further forward from there. So it's a nice little protection card, not so much a ramp card itself. Its idea is just to protect your board so that you can't be affected by hand traps or anything like that, as a for your opponent basically, then go into your Chaos Max to win you game. So that's the whole reason behind those 3 cards there. All very, very powerful. Moving on to the main deck, of course, we play triple Blue Eyes. Purely because we're going to be using Advanced Ritual Art to play all of these cards as well, so keep that in mind. And we're going to be playing Cosmo Queen as well. Now Cosmo Queen, again, they're at level 8, so you've got your trading targets. It is a dark as well because we are playing a lore for a bit more speed plays. If you wanted to, you could technically take out the Blue Eyes for Trihorn Dragons, but I'll show you why we've gone with Blue Eyes more specifically a little bit further on down the line. You do also with the Blue Eyes, if you can revive, get a nice 3k beater on board, and as you can see we're using quite a lot of lights and darks within the deck as we go through, so if you wanted to you could play Chaos Emperor Dragon or you could play BLS Envoy of the beginning as well, so you do have a lot of plays to use and abuse around that one as well. We then also play double Lava Golem because this deck does not rely on its normal summon. It is ritual focused, it's all about the special summon, plus it is a level 8 so you can use it as a trading fodder if it becomes dead, and it burns your opponent as well. Not to mention that most people are ending a board on 2+ monsters. Some might end on 2 to avoid sphere mode. Doesn't mean that Lava Golem can't go straight in there and wreck their day. And like I said, because you do not rely heavily on your normal summon, Lava Golem is actually very, very useful in this deck. We then play the one Orochi. Again, it is a dark. You can bump this up to 2 if you wish. It is a level 8, so using it for trading fodder actually gives you a bit of a plus because you're putting it in the graveyard where it can actually summon itself as well. So not only can it banish from your extra deck, which you do not rely on heavily, it can of course summon itself to be used as level 8 fodder for either a ritual summon or of course an XYZ summon as well. Then of course we play triple Manju of 10,000 hand. This is the only real normal summon monster of the deck that you kind of need, apart from Lava Golem itself. This is just so you get any counterpart that you might need, so if you're missing a ritual spell or a ritual monster, it can search out that counterpart to use it. You do not rely heavily on it because we do not use the incantations in this build because I've tried to keep it as a 40 card deck. If you wanted to bump it up above 40 cards, by all means you can put the incantations in a bit more represented, but it does also count as another light monster for the grave as well. Then, of course, we do play the one Nightmare Corruptor Ibli. I don't play Creature Swap in the main deck. If you did want to go with the incantations, I would advise bumping Creature Swap to 2, if not 3, purely because what you're going to be doing is you're going to be using your incantations to get the cards that you want. You're then going to use Creature Swap to take one of your opponent's monsters and give them a 0 in defense. You're then going to crash in with it with your Chaos Max after you search all your bits and win you game. That's where Ibli comes in, because it can also become stun. Not to mention that you can go through into your Nightmare Mermaid, or if you wanted to and you normal summon it hard cast style, you go into it and you use Almirage as well. So you've got 2 ways of getting rid of your Corruptor Ibli, just to give it to your opponent and then pretty much win yourself the game. So that's it for the monster lineup. Like I said, hand traps are in the side deck, not to mention that your incantations can also be put in as well if you wish. We then, for our ritual spells, play triple Chaos Form. Now, obviously, Chaos Form can do any ritual monster that we play in the deck. So your Dark Magician, or the Magician of Dark Illusion, the Dark Magic, where is he? Magician of Black Chaos Max, bit of a mouthful. So it can do that one, it can also do Blue Eyes Chaos Max, and it can do the Black Luster Soldier as well. So one ritual spell for 3 monsters, banishing Blue Eyes in the graveyard. So of course, the idea is you combo off with Advanced Ritual Art, send your Blue Eyes to the graveyard to get 1 ritual monster, then you play the Chaos Form to banish that Blue Eyes and get a second Chaos monster on the board as well. So let's say, for example, you use Advanced Ritual Art to send the Blue Eyes to get your Magician of Black Chaos Max on board. You then tribute that off it goes, your opponent is now Azathoted. You then use Chaos Form to banish the Blue Eyes that's in the graveyard to summon down your Chaos Max. That in turn then means all you've got to do is get an Ibli to your opponent's side of the board and you have game, and they're under an Azathoth, so they're not doing anything. That's my fault, not yours. That's mine, not yours. The last ritual spell we play... No, we don't even need to play that anymore. What am I talking about? 2, 4, 6... 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39. Yeah, it's my fault. Carrying on the spells, we do play triple the Melody of Awakening Dragon. And of course, this searches you out your Blue Eyes for fodder. It also searches you out your Chaos Max. Ideally, you're going to be searching out 2 of your Chaos Maxes as well over your Blue Eyes. But of course, if you do draw into your trade-ins, you can go for that as well. We then, of course, play triple Bingo. Now, this is just because it can search you out your Chaos Max, it can search you out your Blue Eyes, it can also search you out your Chaos Form as well. So it has a lot of ability to searching out your cards, and it actually does a hell of a lot for you. For the draw cards, we do play triple Trading, and we do play triple Allure. Now, Allure is a little bit more risky in this build because I don't have the incantations, which some are dark as well. And in the other build as well, I was bumping up Trihorn Dragon because it was a dark level 8 alongside the Cosmo Queen and the Orochis. So you had a few more targets for the Allure. At this moment in time, we currently only sit at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 targets for an Allure, whereas our trading target is pretty much the majority of our monsters. So if you don't want to be playing the Allures, you can play other cards. The reason I've kind of gone with this ratio is just like I said, when you're putting in the side deck cards that become more dark, it depends if you want to take these out for some incantations. There is a lot to kind of work around with. It's entirely down to personal preference. We then play double Gateway of Chaos and the 1 Terraforming, because again, Gateway to Chaos searches you out your BLS, so that's another way of getting to a level 8 ritual monster. Not to mention that if 3 monsters are sent from the hand or field to the graveyard through your ritual summons or anything like that, this gets 3 counters. You then get to remove 3 spell counters from this card and add 1 ritual spell card from your deck to your hand. So you search any ritual spell card you want. That's why it's so good. It's another additional search of the deck. If you wanted to, you could play Extravagance, but I quite like the ability of trading, which is why you could then, of course, if you wanted to, play Silver's Cry and, of course, the Dragon of Legend card as well to bring back your Blue Eyes, but that is all it's going to be doing. I took out the alternatives purely because I don't want it to be a Blue Eyes centered deck. I'm just using the Chaos Max for your win con, the Blue Eyes for the fodder, the Bingo and the Melody for your search cards as well. Now, of course, Melody, if you wanted to, you could, of course, put in a Diabolus Lair of the Darkness if you wanted to as well, just to give you another additional Dark monster. Tribute Fodder as well, so it's very, very good and useful in this deck. Last off for the one-offs, play the 1 Monster Reborn and the 1 Desires. Desires is only there to extend your hand. You want to make sure you have all the pieces in your hand you need to kind of either push for game. So, for example, if you don't have the ability to win you the game, you want to make sure you have enough fodder in your hand to be able to do your ritual summons correctly, at least 2, if not more. Then you play the Desires to extend your hand by 2 more cards so that you can hopefully ritual summon for a 3rd time. That, of course, will become game. So that gives you a couple of options to push through and kind of get you the win con that you need within this deck. So that's it for the main deck. Moving on to the extra deck, we'll start off with the Super Poly targets. So our Super Poly targets are Starving Venom, level 8, Predaplant Dragospelia, again level 8, Salaman Great Violet Chimera, again level 8, and finally your Borreload Furious Dragon, again all level 8, so they can provide you or aid in your ability to link summon, level 8 or rank 8 summons. Not to mention, this requires 2 Dark Dragon monsters, so if you do have 2 Chaos Maxes on board, not that you want to be doing this, you would only be doing it for push for game. If you have 2 Chaos Maxes on board and a Super Poly, you go attack with 1 Chaos Max, attack with another Chaos Max. Okay, my opponent is still somehow alive, I'm going to activate Super Poly, fuse those together, go into a Furious Dragon, straight in for 3k. So it's just an additional way to extend your plays. Of course, you could go into Venom, and you could go into... you can't go into Pelo, but you can go into Venom because they're both Dark monsters as well. It just gives you a little bit of extension to push further forward. Not to mention, this can break Rocket decks, Thunder Dragon decks, Pendulum decks, and obviously Salamangreat decks. So you do have a nice variety in your extra deck. And like I said, if you do break your opponent's board with these and then use them to go into your rank 8s, of course you've got additional extensions that way. We'll then play the 1 Galaxy Eye Cypher just because you can steal your opponent's monster. Then you do make it 3k, doesn't matter. All it does is it means your cards can't attack directly except this card. So that's fine. If you've got a troublesome monster that if your Chaos Max was to attack, it could redivert it or it could cause you some issues, then of course you make your Cypher Dragon, steal it, then you use your Chaos Max to hopefully push through for game. So that's kind of, because Max isn't attacking directly, it wants to go through one of the monsters in defense mode to do damage. Then if it doesn't do enough damage, as long as it's done at least 5k, then Cypher can attack directly for the 3k as well. We then have the Galaxy Eyes Photon to go on top of the Cypher if you want it to, just for an additional pop. You then have the Heretic Seal. This is just because you can tribute as many monsters in your hand and, of course, on the field, and just non-target pop that many cards your opponent controls. So if you wanted to, you can just clear your opponent's board. Last for the rank 8s, we do play the number 68, the Sky Prison. You could play Zombie Stein. The reason I haven't played Zombie Stein is it does require 2 level 8 Darks, which is very, very specific in this deck. More so in the sense that I don't want to overlay 2 Chaos Max for that card. I would Super Poly my Chaos Maxes because I'm going for game that way. But the Zombie Stein doesn't give that much to it. Whereas the Sky Prison is actually very, very good. Bumping its attack during what's in the graveyard. And then not being able to summon from the graveyard again is very, very important to stun your opponent as you go. Moving on to the links, we've got the 1 Nightmare Mermaid and the 1 Almirage purely for our Ibli play. You want to get Ibli if you hard draw it off your board to your opponent's side of the field. If you don't hard draw it, you want to be using Nightmare Mermaid to then link off into your link 2s of either Lambda or, of course, your Nightmare Phoenix to then give it to your opponent to go Chaos Max and get you the game. For the link 3s, we do play the 1 Nightmare Unicorn and the busted BLS Soldier of Chaos. This card, of course, you are pumping your board full of level 8s, all level 8s. So I know it's a little bit costly because you're going to be using 3 level 8s to go into this guy unless you're using your Manju. But going into this guy and making it untargetable, making it 3k beta that can banish, boost his attack, or attack twice during the next battle phase is insane. So it's very, very useful and very, very powerful in this deck. You do not rely on the extra deck. It is just a very, very nice option. If your opponent's like, I'm going to target this, target that, target this. Obviously, Chaos Max is unaffected, but your other cards aren't. So you can boost them up, go into this guy, put with a Chaos Max. Happy days. Then finally, for the last rank 4, we do have Apollo. Now, this can be any rank 4 you want. Link 4, sorry. It can be Borrow Sword, Borrow Load, absolutely anything like that. Like I said, you do not rely heavily on the extra deck, so I wouldn't worry about it massively at all. Now, just before we finish, I'm going to show you a couple of little texts that I advise you putting into the deck. So you do have the option of Trihorn Dragon, level 8 Dark, but because it's got less than 3k attack, you can't search it off of Melody, which is why I haven't put it in. Another little spicy tech that this shout out will have to go to Chris because he is the Cyber Angel player. But you do have your Dakini. Now Dakini is a level 8. It can be ritual summoned with Machine Angel Ritual, so it does mean you can use Advanced Ritual Art for it as well. If it's ritual summoned, you make your opponent send one monster they control to the graveyard. And then on top of that, if a ritual monster you control attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent. During phase, you can type 1 Ritual Machine or Machine Angel Ritual in your graveyard and add to your hand. Not going to be doing that, but you're giving all of your ritual monsters piercing. So, alright, Chaos Max is fine on that chord, but if you can't make Chaos Max and you have to go with a BLS, your BLS is going to be piercing for 3k, or whatever the defense is, and then it's going to burn your opponent if it's the original attack. Dakini will then pierce, and if you go, you just keep pushing forward from that way. So Dakini is a nice little tech that you can trial in as well. Other stuff like Creature Swap is very, very good. Like I said, with the incantations, and then everything else just comes down to personal preference. I try to keep the rituals max focus, so everything resolving around the Chaos Max or Chaos Form ritual spell. But you can play it up and trial it up and make it a little bit different yourself if you want to. So it really does come down to personal preference of how you'd like to play the deck. I think it's just a fun deck. Like level 8 spam, playing the Chaos monsters is all really, really cool. Very, very fun and play around with as well. So that is it for the deck profile. Again, a massive shout out to Mr. Fluffy who suggested this. Again, great idea. Something a little bit different, something a little bit fun to play around with, and something worth trialing out for a bit of fun if you have all of these cards. And the irony is when this card works better in a Blue Eyes deck than it does in a Dark Magician deck. But still very, very good, still very, very fun, and still very, very powerful. And I definitely advise you having a bit of a fun with it. Try it out at your locals, try it out against your friends. Chaos Max is always a very, very scary monster, and I don't think that will change. Purely because if you're left there defenseless, you can't stop a ritual summon. You can't stop them giving you a monster with 0 attack, whether it be Ibli or an incantation. As soon as that Chaos Max drops, unless you're sitting on a Stormy Mirror Force, you know, it's going to be game. But yeah, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Push us towards that 15,000 subscriber mark. We are getting there slowly but surely. Obviously, check out our giveaway for the Megatin promos as well. That will end on Wednesday, I believe I said, or Thursday, one of the 2 days. So that will close, and then I'll announce the winners shortly after that, and we'll go from there. But for now, like, comment, subscribe, share, and as always, guys, happy dueling. What's up, YouTube? Dan here from Zephyr Games. Thanks for watching that video. If you liked it, please hit that big thumbs up button in the bottom corner as well. And don't forget to hit the big red subscribe button so you don't miss out on anything. Make sure you click that notification bell as well so you know every time one of our new videos goes up. Throughout the whole year of 2019, we're going to have more deck profiles, duels, and of course pack openings for you guys to watch and enjoy the entire year round. So stay tuned for more, and as always guys, happy dueling.